Hey, I'm Luke Kenny from the Berzerker. I've just been asked to talk a little bit about the making of World of Lies, the brand new album. Firstly, the new album was recorded on this little laptop, G4 PowerBook, and mixed, mastered, recorded, everything. No amps were used during the recording, everything was DI'd, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. I got down Jason and Ed, who recorded on the album, to talk a little bit about it, and they're going to take you through from here.
I'm Jace, I play guitar in the Berzerker.
Eddie, guitar, Berzerker.
After the first album, it would have been really hard to convince me to do the second album. The second album was done with a bunch of guys that I didn't really know, except for Sam and Luke, and apparently it went really smoothly. You'd done the first album, and then all of a sudden, here the second album was knocked up, and geez, it was brutal. It had all moved on.
The album was written over about 2 weekends, Christmas 2004, and I got together with Sam and Jason and Ed, the guitarists that recorded on the first album, and a friend of mine, Adrian. And we sat down, we just put down riffs.
A phone call came. We're recording the third album, come around, it's going to be really chilled out, we're just going to play some guitar, we're going to write this new album. Hanging out with Sam and Ed and Luke again together in a room. I hadn't seen those guys together in a room since we recorded the first album, and it almost felt like it was old days. And I think in the spirit of everything that had gone on in the past, that mean-ass guitar that Sam hot-rodded was picked up once again, and we recorded guitar tracks on the spur of the moment. I remember it as being one guitar, and it just kept going around the room. Sam was playing for a little while, and he might be playing a riff, and he's onto something, but he's not quite nailing it, and then maybe I'd think, great, that's a great riff, and I'd pick up the guitar, play something that was similar, but maybe not exactly the same, and it would just come out right, and then I'd jam on an idea for a little while, and I remember, I think we had a rule. It was like you get 3 goes, and if you don't produce anything good, you have to pass the guitar on. It was riff by riff, one bit at a time, not having any idea where the beginning, the end of the song was.
The biggest difference between the first album with the Berzerker and this latest one, the riffs essentially weren't ours, and they were a combination of what Luke had sort of put together on the keyboard, old demo riffs, what Sam had sort of been able to conjure up from that, some of his riffs, and as we said before, me and Jace just have to take that and develop it, and into what eventually became the first album. But with this third album, nothing was there. Like, the foundations had to be built. There were no riffs, so it was basically, we walked in, and it was just such a personal affair.
It was a good vibe though. I remember we'd be there hammering away at a riff, and we'd be playing it for a little while, and the other guys in the room would pick up on what's going on, and if the idea stuck and you were getting nods in the room, either you'd nail the part or the guitar would just get passed on to the next person. Then, like, if there was some real technical part that, like, for some reason, Luke wanted some notes played, and I couldn't nail it, then there was sure as hell another person in the room that had that nimbleness in the hands or whatever to nail that riff. Who knows where it was going to go, because ultimately it was out of our hands, and it was going to go in the computer, get sliced and diced to Luke's liking.
Okay, so here we are, Logic Audio 7, and we've got up As the World Waits. We'll give it a go. And we're just going to talk a little bit quickly about the bass guitar. I'll just solo that. And we recorded it by DI'ing it without any amps, as we've kind of talked a little bit about before. And that's basically the DI'd sound. It's not really very impressive. A lot of EQ work was done, and the final EQ settings is basically this. So yeah, we're running a compressor and an amazing amount of EQ. Very similar with the guitar. If we take off all of the EQ, that's basically, actually quickly, this is one of the riffs. You can see how much it's been cut through here. This is a riff that's been cut up into 4/8 sections and moved around. That's the DI guitar sound. And then with the EQ, and the second EQ, there's quite a difference between the original. It's a guitar.
Tell the people here, please, the utter offence that was taken about processing recording guitar.
Sure, when you've been playing guitar for like, over a decade and you've got like a shit hot rig at home, you've got like a good collection of guitars, you're really into your thing, you like your guitars, you like, crispy strings, you like good service tubes, you like the good warm, nice guitar sounds. When somebody says to you, here, plug your fucking guitar into this laptop, get the fuck out of town. I mean, what greater insult could you have to a guitar player? A Marshall J&P. Yep. I remember trying one of those in a shop and thinking it was a piece of shit. But, like we've been out of the loop for a little bit. Like, recorded countless times in studios, recorded at home, using like the Line 6 stuff, which is cool, maybe combined with like an amp or something like that. Just something to keep it real. There is something about speakers and quad boxes that we appreciate. And the lack of them, it makes me nervous, personally. With some weaving of magic, the guitar sound somehow, again, turned out great. It was fat, it was clear. It certainly didn't have to be downpicked every single time. Like after a little while of tweaking, obviously there was something to be extracted from that digital domain that our hard-working guitar sound went into.
It was months of tweaking though, it wasn't a little tweaking.
Months of tweaking.
Here's my trusty spectrum analyzer, which saves me a lot of grief. I can sit down and analyse the guitar frequencies. Same with the vocals. And of course the kick drums.
I was completely blown away at how the clarity on this latest album was with the guitar sounds, particularly because finding the room to get everything to fit, obviously with the Berzerker is a mission. And just with this new album, the guitars came out big, bold and round and really fat. And with all that, big worry with having big fat guitar sounds is that it'll mud out and you'll lose the clarity. But somehow the clarity is there all the way through, and it's just that tone.
You were obviously involved in sound production, recording bands for for a while, and there was no reason why. There was some faith there that said that okay, if you think that it's all right, then you must be able to do something with it. Nothing is normal with this band.
Okay, just very quickly, I'm going to solo some of the elements of the start of this track, As the World Waits. This is the guitar. Onto the bass. Some of those sounds in there. Kick drums, snare, hats. So basically there's quite a lot of things to put together. We've got the vocals, all the noise, both guitars, the bass, the almighty kick drums, and trying to get that all to work together is very difficult.
A long time ago when we were writing some stuff for the Wolves, we had some leftover material. And I don't mean leftover, it was eventually going to turn into something. And it was really, really cool to hear it finally on the fucking album.
Which is from the track Never Hated More, and it's the middle riff there. Ding, ding, ding,
Never Hated
ding,
More,
ding, ding.
that's it. It was great. I didn't play it on that, even though I wrote the fucking thing.
I was sitting with Jason the other day and we can't even figure out who played what riff. You know, it's just, we can't even remember. But it's, which I think says more to the point that it doesn't really matter. It's more about the fact that we all were able to create these songs, and the fact that we can't even remember who played what riff was just even more emphasises the fact that it's a joint sort of effort.
Finally, with the new album World of Lies, it's captured everything that the Berzerker was supposed to be. The old school death metal, the feeling of the old school death metal. Songs. It's all about songs.
First album, especially for me, you know, had songs, and I think this album has got more of that kind of character in it.
And that tradition of songwriting that we grew up with, you know, there's where we'd sit down and listen to a song and the essence of the songwriting that's involved within that, and it really just give you such a vibe that when you turn that song off, it would leave such an intense taste in your mouth. It would almost paint a picture in your head, or a story, or some kind of something, you know, where it was a creation. It wasn't just a whole bunch of technical prowess.
But for us, definitely, we feel as though this album is taken us to a place where, you know, certainly the Berzerker hasn't been to before, and it's given us a chance to just good old-fashioned songwriting.
And once again, once it came around to mastering, that was all done in Logic 7. This is what it sounded like before the mastering. Basic EQ. And you can see it's quite a difference. Before, that's after. Before, and after. Now I had taken the finished product as it is here into the mastering studio to get them to make it better, and basically they succeeded in making it much worse. So yeah, we left it as it was. It was quite interesting. We put their version and my version back to back. I didn't know which was which, and I said, which is number 2? Mastering guy said, that's your version. I said, thanks a lot, you can leave it like that. So it ended up being fully mixed, mastered, produced in my little G4 PowerBook.
When I got to finally sit down and listen to the final product of this album, it was awesome. Like, I got to listen from start to finish, and it really gave me the vibe of it took you on a journey, and there was a lot of variety with the riffs and the melodical content, and the songwriting and the structuring was just for me a lot more developed. It used different intensities and different dynamics that the first and second album I feel hadn't quite reached.
Absolutely. This album for me is a lot more about songs. It pays homage to all the previous efforts. This time around, I think there's just a bit more focus on where the songs are going and what message they're trying to deliver in terms of songwriting.
Okay, so this is Free Yourself, and you can see here the guitar parts. We just recorded once, the different colours for the different riffs. And each colour is going to be a different riff, and that's how that was put together. Seeing here, we had solo some of the vocals.
I remember Luke came around 10 o'clock at night after me not seeing him for 5 months, him being in another state. He comes back and says, "Hey, check this out, I've got some mixes of the album," and I couldn't believe the fact that he'd taken all these riffs and all of a sudden there was all these tracks. There was 13 tracks. 13 tracks.
It was like a jigsaw puzzle though. It was like you guys had put the pieces down and then I had to kind of make them fit, and I guess it was strange hearing it together for the first time.
It was strange hearing it together. We were making bodies of songs.
Absolutely.
Like creating like one chunk of the song, and then next thing you know we'd be moving on to something else.
Because we'd sort of been concentrating on those body of songs, they changed so much, and you were sort of used to hearing one riff with another, or a certain 3 or 4 riffs together, and all of a sudden, you know, 1 or 2 of those riffs would be in another song.
Yeah.
You know.
Or you'd hear the start of a song and it'd be like, you know, brutal, and then all of a sudden, like, it'd just kick into that part that we were there doing it right there and then it would just like go somewhere else or something. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
With regards to songwriting, it's just the fact that I've been doing this for so long now, I kind of have realised what works and what doesn't. And from doing all the shows, 200 shows overseas, whatever it is, you see the pit, you see how people react to the music, and this album has been written purely with the live act in mind. You will see some unbelievably brutal moshes to these tunes, and that's what it's been designed for.
Particularly with this album, with the tempos, it's like you say, it's a lot more realistic as far as it's a lot more focused on movement, it's a lot more focused on and rhythm and like being able to adapt to like mosh pit or just to find that place in somebody that really makes them want to move. We did the first album, and it was great, and we didn't tour it, and
it was weird seeing other people play the riffs that we'd sat there and sweated and busted our asses for. We've never played live with Berzerker at this stage. It's something that perhaps I think at some stage we want to do. It's about the product that everyone at home gets to listen to. It takes you on a journey that I've been on, and if everyone else can enjoy and relate to it, then I'm happy with it.
I think we've been lucky that way with just going forth and making music purely for ourselves, that other people have kind of found something in it they can enjoy, and that, for me anyway, that's what kind of...
Well, like I said before, particularly with this new album, I feel a lot more personally attached to the riffs, so I'd love to be able to take up the opportunity to be able to tour it and really deliver those riffs in a live environment, and really sort of see in the flesh just the reaction to them and how they sort of run off the stage.
After recording both the self-titled album and Assimilate myself, I worked out a way, finally, to capture this band properly, how to get the guitars to cut through with the kick drums and fit everything into the spectrum, and I'm absolutely amazed with the finished product. Just lastly, I'd like to thank you guys, the fans, for sticking with us, buying all the albums, etc. And I hope you've been able to get something positive out of the albums and the DVDs. I've really tried personally to show you as much of the behind the scenes as I possibly can. You don't need a lot of money. You need a reasonable amount of talent and passion. It's all about passion. We recorded on this little laptop. Remember that.
Please go to where? Just to the front. Oh, we got an injury, a serious injury. We just need to get this sorted. So yeah, we're looking for John Harvey's brother. Can you go to the front desk, please? How you doing, Toronto?
I'm in New York now, and this character here is vomiting, and this character here is like just, I don't know what his deal is. Yeah, look at him, take the photo.
So here's our tour bus. What do we got? Matt at the front. Kim.
Where does the president of
What do you got? Something's microwaving. Gary's out the back there. Going to see.
president of Australia
Sam.
stay?
I'm here. And we'll just go inside and what do we got?
White House, baby.
Huh? How good? Here we are in Washington, D.C. Second tour 2002, right on. I'll ride this on to the back there. I'm going to check. We got 70 left. Here we are, the Washington Monument. You know, you can film me driving around bloody, you know, this is one way, isn't it? Fuck.
This is the big road we just came off of. You don't want to get on this fucking
There's nothing I can do, man.
You're not gonna do nothing.
We're trying to find our visas. We're trying to organise our Canadian visas at 7 a.m. in New York, driving the monster fucking bus. We can't get a park anywhere. How the fuck am I going to get around this corner? Oh, man.
One tank.
Just stay on this and go down to 42.
Yeah? New Jersey. We just played a show at the Chrome Club. We're going to go in a minute. Got little vans, and we got the monster truck. So here's our band room. I don't know. Check it out. It's pretty exciting. But at least there's a mirror so that we can do our makeup. Here's Niagara Falls at 7:30 in the morning. That's like 3. Well, there you go, 3 degrees. That's the one. Park, Illinois, Texas. We're in Wyoming. Come on, me,
January 25th is my birthday! Shakira's playing in Las Vegas on my birthday.
This is how we do Las Vegas. Bring your beer in the back of the pickup. Vegas! Who is this guy we're with? We just jumped in the back.
Coming off my fingertips.
Charo!
Can I get a straw with my drink?
us, and barbed wire fence, and a wooden fence, and Luke, the singer of Berzerker, dragged me into the bus, saved my life.
Yeah, well.
His soul, my soul is now his.
No one ever wins.
I can't even sit in there on my laptop because the fucking office is too smoky.
And if you're around smoke, then you can't sing.
Amazing, man! Oh,